Want to get back to our top story right now. We are awaiting FDA approval on 2 COVID vaccines, which means some of the most vulnerable Americans could potentially get a shot by Christmas time. A lot of questions still out there rolling in today. I want to bring in the CDC director, Dr. Robert Redfield. And sir, thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming on our program today. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Bill.
You bet. I got a number of questions. Let's see how much we can go through over the next 6 minutes or so, okay? What is London doing that we're not doing right?
Well, we have different approval system kinetics. So I think it's really great that London's now approved this vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine. Should great confidence to the American public. I have confidence in our FDA regulatory process, which is ongoing, and it's also in the process of reviewing this information based on how they do it, and I anticipate that they'll have their advisory committee meeting in December 10th.
Okay, so we've broken down a lot of walls during the last 9-10 months. I think you'd agree on that, like with regulations and pushing things forward. I mean, did we drop the ball when it came to the FDA and knocking down that wall?
No, sir. I think it's really critical. One of the biggest challenges we have right now is to maintain confidence in this vaccine. And I do think the FDA is really looking at the rigor to make sure that they really turn over every stone to look at this data to make sure they understand fully what the safety profile is, what the side effects are, so that there can be transparency for the American public when they do approve this EUA for this vaccine.
Well, we want to get it going. Hearing rumors out of Canada, they might be next, so hang on if that's the case. On the quarantine, new rules announced today by the CDC. It was 14 days. Now it's down to as few as 7, which is cut in half, as you know. How come?
Well, Bill, it's really important. We're always trying to get new data. The original data that we had back in the spring really supported the 14 days. We've been able over this summer to do a variety of other studies that allowed us to remodel the quarantine, and really we're able to show that at 10 days you really did have remarkable impact, only a 1% likelihood of someone being missed at 10 days, and then at 7 days, if you test out at day 5, 6, or 7, it was basically there was a 5% chance that you might miss someone. And we wanted to give the American public the options that we have based on the data that we have. 14 days is the most guaranteed, but 10 days can really work very well. And, of course, 7 days with testing out. So,
okay, I want to read the headline just so our viewers at home are clear about it. Quarantine can end on day 7. After receiving a negative test result, or on day 10 without testing.
That's right, sir.
That seems significant.
I think it is significant. It gives individuals, as you know, the opportunity, as you said in your header, it could cut the quarantine time in half. I mean, and isolation and quarantine is such an important measure for us to control the transmission of this virus from one individual to the other. But really what we tried to do is put the science out as we got it and be able to put that out to the American people. So now there's 3 different options, all of which are viable and all of which are recommended, that can be individualized based on their circumstances.
Does it make sense to you, medically speaking here, why it took us to December to figure that out?
Well, I've said before, CDC is not an opinion organization. We're science-based and data-driven, and the reality is we did have to get the data to be able to answer that question, and that data did begin to get gathered effectively over the summer, and that's why we've changed our recommendations for the American public.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever gotten a straight answer on this. I'm going to try on this one, too. I'm taking you back to February now, where we were told the CDC had a test, it was ready to go and roll out, and it did not happen. How come?
Well, actually, the CDC did develop a test very rapidly within really less than 2 weeks of the sequence of the virus in late January. And that test, Bill, worked that day, and it works today. It's never been defective. What CDC did do was, because people had to send the test to us in Atlanta, they attempted to manufacture additional test kits that they could send to every health department in the country. And in doing that, one of the 3 reagents that they included was not reliable in how it performed, either because of a contamination, which some people have speculated, or because of actually the design of what we call the primer pair that was used, that it could actually cause a false positive test. It took about 5 weeks working with the FDA to correct it, and it was corrected, and that test has worked well ever since. But I do.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish your answer.
I just wanted to emphasize that at no time did the American public not have a highly functional test that was not flawed at CDC for COVID-19.
So you're saying back in February that test it was not a mistake then, is what you're saying?
That's right. It worked. The test that we used at CDC worked fine then. The test that we sent out to the local health departments when we manufactured it is that manufacturing process caused a defect in those tests. But the test at CDC worked in January, February, March, April. It works today. But the test that we sent out did have a defect in one of the reagents that took us about 5 weeks to correct.
It costs a little bit. I think you would concede that as well. And I think earlier today you said the nation was not prepared for this. And you talked about the possibility of 450,000 Americans dying from the virus. February was the month you gave, so that puts us 12 months out. The CDC is also telling Americans don't travel for Christmas. I think that was kind of expected after Thanksgiving. Your advice on that now with the holidays 3.5 weeks away?
Yeah, I think it's really important. We are at a very significant point of this pandemic in the United States, as you know. We've had 4 million cases over in the month of November. There's widespread transmission. So we are asking the American public to be very serious about reconsidering whether they travel. And we put out guidance today to give people, if they do choose to travel, ways to think about how to minimize their risk if they do travel, whether it's by car or train or bus or plane, to think through what they need to think through. It's really not, I want to stress, it's not the airlines that's the risk, gate to gate. It's getting to the gate and leaving the gate and getting to where you're going and getting back. So we have put out guidance on domestic, which helps people if they do choose to travel, but our recommendation is still we do really recommend people reconsider their travel plans through this holiday. That's
tough news to take. Sir, I appreciate you coming on today. I hope we can do this again very soon because we're not out of it yet, as you well know. And I want our audience to know you haven't taken a day off since this thing began. So thank you for your service. Stay at it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bill.
Dr. Robert Redfield from Atlanta.